Monday morning, got my coffee, it's time to make some breakfast. Usually on Mondays, I make bacon and eggs, and that's what I'm gonna do, but today I feel like some hash browns. And I wanna show you guys an easy keto recipe for hash browns because I miss those crispy hash browns, and you put like a runny egg on top and it just explodes, and it mixes in with that crispiness, and it's like the best thing ever. What I noticed on Google is that the majority of keto hash brown recipes out there are made out of cauliflower or cabbage. Come on, that's not a hash brown. Plus it tastes weird, plus it's a pain in the butt to make. So I wanna do an easier version. Make these keto hash browns, I'm gonna be using a keto flour, and I'm gonna try 3 of them. So let's try almond flour, coconut flour, and lupin flour. And I'm gonna tell you which one, if there is a winner, we're gonna tell you which one is the winner, and I'm gonna have it on my website, KetoFocus.com. We're gonna go over the entire macro breakdown at the end of the video, plus I'm gonna give you some meal prep tips on how to save time in making your keto hash browns. The difference between the flours is I think it's more of a taste preference, but I do kind of want to see, because some people have said when it comes to keto french fries that the lupin flour is actually the best tasting one, and some people prefer the coconut one. I'm not a huge fan of coconut flour, but I just want to try it anyway. But when it comes to your keto flours, they're different in the way that you can cook with them and bake with them. Like almond flour is just super, super airy and light. You actually need more of it than you would if you were like trying to figure out a recipe and trying to replace this with traditional flour. So I have a cup of almond flour in here. Coconut flour, it's more dense, it absorbs water more, so you actually would have to cut this in half. So I have a half a cup of coconut flour here. And same goes with lupin powder too. It's very, very dense and compact, so you don't need quite as much as you would if you were using almond flour. So I have a half a cup of lupin flour in here. So that's our base, and to help these hash browns stick together, we need some sort of substrate to do that. And I'm going to be using, you can use xanthan gum, but you could also use agar powder too. I've used that before and it works perfectly fine. So a tablespoon of xanthan gum, you could get away with less too if you wanted to. And then we're going to add some salt for flavoring. So it'll be a half a teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to add in some water. You want hot water in here, and this will be around 6 tablespoons of hot water. And then for flavoring, like I did with my keto french fries, I'm gonna be using some mashed potato extract. You could omit that if you don't want it, but I will have it linked down below if you guys are curious and want to try some. Once we've combined the dough, the next step is to grate it. So we want to shred this into potato-like shreds. I'm going to be using a cheese grater to do this because it's the easiest thing. And this is fairly easy to shred too, which is a bonus. Now my coconut flour hash brown batter, I did have to add a little extra water just because it was super, super dry. Remember what I said about that coconut flour really absorbing water. So I had to add a couple tablespoons more of water. So it'll be 9 tablespoons worth of water in here. I found that the almond flour batch really shredded well. It looks just like hash brown shreds. And I am attempting to freeze some too to see if that makes a difference in how we shred it. The coconut one as well, again, it's shredded just perfectly, really nice hash brown shreds. These look more like, I would say a potato just because of their coloring compared to the almond flour ones. Now the lupin flour I had such high hopes for just because of everything everybody said about making lupin flour French fries, but it did not shred. I had such a hard time getting it to shred with the cheese shredder. It was just like this gunk of goo that would just clog at my shredder and it just would slide down and not even really shred. So I didn't really get that much out of it. I tried to experiment and even cut down the xanthan gum by just using 1 teaspoon, and it seemed to work a little bit better. It was the same thing though. So, I mean, this recipe might need a little bit work. I do want to try it and see if it's even worth exploring. Now we're going to fry these hash browns. I'm going to fry these in a little bit of avocado oil just because that's like a high temperature oil. It has a higher smoke point, so it's really safe to fry foods at a higher temperature. I'm just going to add some oil to my skillet and then heat it up over medium heat. And then I'm going to take a handful of my hash browns and place it in there. You want to fry these on each side just until they start to get that golden brown crispiness on the other side, and then you'll flip them over. Once they're done frying, then you can remove them from the skillet and just put them on a piece of paper towel just to help soak up all the excess oil. I feel like the two that fried up the best was the almond flour and the coconut flour types of hash browns. The lupin flour one, it just looked like noodles almost. So that one didn't really turn out as well as I thought it would. It looks like just lumps of grated cheddar cheese. But we're gonna put these to the ultimate test, which is the taste test, and I'm gonna tell you how each of them have fared. Meanwhile, let's make up our bacon and eggs. Whiskey. No, this is my bacon. So I have my two contenders. I have the coconut flour version of the keto hash brown and the almond flour version. Super crunchy and crispy when you cut into it. Yeah, that's really good. It has the crunch in your mouth and it really has that potato flavor thanks to I think it's a combination of the coconut flour and the mashed potato extract. Is super, super good. Super excited about that one. So let's try the almond flour one. No, the almond flour version is still super crispy and crunchy. The flavor is a little bit different. I think the winner is the coconut flour hash browns. They look like a hash brown, they have that same crisp, and then they taste more like a potato and hash brown compared to the almond flour ones. Almond flour one is still really good too. You could go that route if you don't have any coconut flour or don't like the taste of coconut flour, but my favorite is definitely the coconut flour ones. All right, let's talk about macros. I'm gonna do the macros for the coconut flour hash browns because that was my winner. I figure this whole batch is probably gonna make 4 servings, so it's 61 calories. The total carbs per serving is 9.8 grams. So if you're someone that's sticking with like calculating total carbs for the day, then probably wouldn't do this unless you're absolutely missing hash browns and want something. The net carbs would be 3 net carbs per serving and protein is 2.3 grams. So I would say this is like a decently keto meal, especially if you're someone who is counting net carbs and you want some hash browns.